Yesterday, the President of the United States met with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, both of whom were less than pleased with how the meeting went. Here were their reactions to the meeting.
Federal workers will not be receiving their paychecks, and what that means in their lives is tragic in terms of their credit rating, paying their mortgage, paying their rent, paying their car payment, paying their children's tuition, and the rest. The president seems to be insensitive to that. He thinks maybe they could just ask their father for more money, but they can't.
The president just got up and walked out. He asked Speaker Pelosi, will you agree to my wall? She said no. And he just got up and said, then we have nothing to discuss, and he just walked out. Again, we saw a temper tantrum because he couldn't get his way, and he just walked out of the meeting.
Well, Democrats were super pissed about this. President Trump met with both Pelosi and Schumer, and apparently, according to President Trump, it went something like what Pelosi and Schumer said, although without the temper tantrum. Here is what President Trump tweeted out yesterday. He tweeted out, just left a meeting with Chuck and Nancy, a total waste of time. I asked what is going to happen in 30 days if I quickly open things up. Are you going to approve border security, which includes a wall or steel barrier? Nancy said, no. I said, bye-bye. Nothing else works. And it turns out he actually did say bye-bye. No joke. He actually turned to them and said bye-bye. And then he just left. This was after apparently he had handed out candy. According to the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence, President Trump wasn't upset during the meeting. He just was not surprised that Democrats were not willing to negotiate. And so he opened the meeting by handing out candy. And then when he didn't get what he wanted, he walked out.
Walked into the room, passed out candy. It was true.
Never raised his voice.
I don't recall him ever raising his voice or slamming his hand. But this is a president who feels very strongly about his commitment to see to the security of the American people.
Okay, so, this whole thing is bound for ruin. There is no deal that is on the table, and the only deals that are being considered, as we'll discuss in a little while, are not going to be great for the border hawk side of the Republican caucus. I will say that the idea of President Trump offering Nancy Pelosi a Snickers, him just going up to her and saying, you're not you and you're hungry, and then just handing her a Snickers bar, then she takes a bite and she turns into Ben Roethlisberger or something, that would have been very amusing. Or he could have gone with the Donald Jr. routine, and he could have actually handed Nancy Pelosi a bowl of Skittles and then told her that one of them was poisoned and said, well, one of these is poisoned. And she would say, well, I don't want to eat any of these. Like, that's just like illegal immigration. You don't know which one is poisoned. So, solid stuff happening in the Oval Office with the Democrats. He's on more solid ground when he says that Democrats don't obviously give a damn about illegal immigration. Here, he is not wrong, and this is the point he actually should be hammering.
There is no reason why we can't come to a deal. But you have another side that doesn't care about border security. The Democrats, which I've been saying all along, they don't give a damn about crime. They don't care about crime. They don't care about gang members coming in and stabbing people and cutting people up. They don't care about crime. And if they're not going to care about crime, then I agree. They shouldn't do anything at the border, but I care about crime.
It is, not a horrible argument that Democrats don't care about crime, especially when they make some of the worst arguments in the world. Nancy Pelosi, apparently in this meeting with President Trump was talking about a wall, and Nancy Pelosi kept saying to him, but people will just build tunnels underneath the wall. Oh, my God. You're right. It's much easier to just build tunnels underneath the wall than to walk across where there is no wall. The long history of people walking across things where there's no wall demonstrates it's a little easier to walk across things than to build a tunnel underneath them, as Dan Crenshaw pointed out. I can't imagine how this conversation went. Trump goes, I want a wall. And Pelosi says, well, people will just build tunnels under the wall. And Trump says, well, we'll flood the tunnels. And then Pelosi's like, well, they'll bring rafts. And Trump will be like, well, we'll sink the rafts. She's like, well, they have scuba gear. Like that. What? This is how these conversations must have gone. We are now living in the stupidest timeline in which people make the most inane arguments. And when Democrats say that a wall doesn't make things more difficult, of course a wall makes things more difficult, just by definition. Honestly, I only wish that the conversation had been about using trebuchets to throw drugs over the wall. Right? They could have said that the wall was a medieval implement, and Trump would have said, right, that's because it works. And then Pelosi would have said, well, people will bring catapults. And Trump would be like, and that's why I brought this dragon. Right? All this is dumb, all right? It's $5.7 billion. The Democrats just signed the money. We should be done, but we're not going to be done because Democrats think that they can exact some sort of bargain out of Trump, and they figure the American people, at the behest of the media, are going to fall exactly where they want them to fall.